5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. Now, here's Tom Silverstein.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to 5 Questions with LeRoy Butler. We are entering the final 3-game stretch of the regular season, and the Green Bay Packers are NFC champs for the second year in a row. And what's left out there for them? Home field advantage.
Yeah.
Go 3-0, and they've got home field advantage. Now, we talked about this after the game. Does it matter that much? Maybe it does. In the year of COVID, who knows?
I think it does, Tom. Think of all the great quarterbacks back when I played in the 90s. Steve Young, Aikman, and all these great quarterbacks. All of them wanted either they didn't always have it, but when they always talked about, and we still talk about, having home field. And especially with this year with COVID, you can stay in your own bed and don't have to travel, and it's just a lot of things go around. Although you were right, it won't be any fans. Although it may be maybe up to 1,000 if they expand it a little bit. But how COVID is not real good right now in Wisconsin. So, but put that to a side for a minute. But as a mentality of not traveling, getting more rest, I think will be an advantage. And that one team overall get a bye week on top of that. And then to boot, Aaron Rodgers, of all his 4 championship games, they've all been on the road. He's never been at home. And that's what most people, the great quarterbacks, if you go break them all down, they all wanted and they all talked about it openly about getting the home field advantage throughout the playoffs. So it's something that the Packers really would love to have.
Okay, so the North is in their pocket. Over the next 3 weeks, give me 3 things that you want to see happen as they get ready for the playoffs that you would like to see before the playoffs start.
Well, first, I would like the special teams to get better. Special team is not good right now. The coverage units, and that can prevent you from going to the Super Bowl. I mean, I'll give you a scenario. What if MVS catches an 80-yard bomb, and then we're all excited, you take the lead, or you even tie it, and then you kick it off, and then they bring it back for a touchdown. That's demoralizing. The punt unit has to get better, Tom. Those are the kind of things that's the reason why we went out and got Desmond Howard. And that's, he was Super Bowl MVP, to my point. So that has to get better. The other thing, you must continually on defense get turnovers and sacks. If you don't do that, it's going to be so much harder. I mean, it was at one point Detroit put together a long drive, and those long drives, even the first initial drive they scored, that keeps Aaron Rodgers and the boys on the sideline. So defense got to get 3 and outs, turnovers, and interceptions, of course, and fumbles and all that. And the last thing is for the offense. They're a machine, okay? They're number 1 in scoring. Aaron Jones will be something you must install him to where he get 20, 25 touches. I mean, because he's been healthy for the most part. He, missed a little bit of time with the calf or whatever, but they got to get him going because the weather's going to change. And, sometimes it be snowing and you can't throw it a whole lot because you can always count on Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams and even Robert Tonyan.
Yeah.
But that running game, Tom, we had Dorsey Levis and Edgar Bennett, and we just wore teams down.
Yeah.
And William Henderson. So I would like that to happen. If those 3 things happen, they're going to be so hard to beat. And I think they understand that as well.
What do you think? So there's 3 things. How about 3 players who could emerge during this last 3 weeks that you have your eye on?
Okay, that's a good question. For me, my eyes has to be on St. Brown. I mean, 19, he's going to get an opportunity to have the 3rd or 4th worst corner covering him. And I think he has the speed and the ability to really be like somebody they don't even pay attention to that can really bust open. I mean, that would be truly amazing if he can do that. And really, to me, if Lucas Patrick plays, he has to play a lot better because he has it as of late. But if he's playing great on that left guard side, not only the protection will be good, Tom, but you can run the ball now away from David Bakhtiari and cut back to him, and it's going to be a wide open hole. Mm-hmm. But he got to push that 3 technique to make sure that guy doesn't, get him. So 19 and 62. Another guy on defense has to be 52. Rashad Gary. He has to stay healthy. And if he can start to get 1.5 sacks a game, and maybe have one of those games where you have 2.5 or 3 sacks, the defense is dangerous if he can do that. Because you can count on the Smith brothers, but, what if something happens and, not to mention Preston Smith got his job back, but I'm counting on him to be a guy that they really need down the stretch. Because, the guy is just a powerful guy, but you got to stay healthy first.
Okay. I have a question for you. What did you think of the development at inside linebacker, where they seem to play Chris Barnes more in the nickel and the dime? He took over the dime single linebacker position from Christian Kirksey. And what did you think of how he played?
Well, I like Chris Barnes. Remember if you go all the way back to the first game against Minnesota, I thought he played well, but it seemed like the COVID thing hit him, and that kind of took him out for a while. Him and Kamal Martin, because he was playing well, and then Kirksey got hurt. And next thing you know, you're running out of middle linebackers. But now all of these guys are healthy, which is a positive. But now you got to rotate these guys in on these packages to make sure you get the right, complement. And if you can get the base 2 linebackers that you want, and then you can get the guy who, if you want Barnes to be that dime guy, because he's going to have to cover running backs and tight ends, or even sometimes a shallow wide receiver, that's the plan you got to go with. It was on the job training for some of these guys the whole year, but now with 3 weeks going into the playoffs, you got to find a specific guy for a specific role. That's how guys flourish. They sit there and wait. Remember, that's the way it just feels good. Brian Williams, he was our base linebacker, but you remember, but he was our dime linebacker. So he knew his role. That's why he flourished in it.
Yeah, sometimes you don't know what you have until there's an injury and the guy has to play. You remember when there was an injury at guard and Adam Timmerman had to play as a rookie. Yep. And he came in and was fabulous.
He was.
In 2010, Desmond Bishop finally got his chance. And, he had been sitting on the bench and he turned out to be a really good inside linebacker. Yeah. I wonder if in these last 3 weeks, whether they should be continuing to use more of Chris Barnes, plus Kamal Martin, plus Vernon Scott. I wonder what you thought of him. Never mind that he wears your number.
Well, that's the one reason why I like it.
Yeah, but let's take that aside. I don't know how closely you watched him, but what did you think of what they got from him?
I like to change up. He's a violent guy. He moves around good. I want to see more of him. I would love to see him down in the box. I think he's a better tackler than some of the other guys. So I think it was refreshing that you have to play some of the babies, and that's what I call them because they're young. A lot of these guys, they didn't have training camp. It's on-the-job training, and they got so many packages. And if they can just scale it down a little bit, then I think guys don't have to think as much. They can just run around and play.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see more of him in a certain particular package. Get him in a role. Maybe you play him more in a base. Maybe you play him in the nickel. Maybe you play multiple safeties because I really like what I'm seeing at Darnell Savage close to the line of scrimmage instead of him being back.
Yeah, and actually, in this game, they decided to move Adrian Amos more into the box and play Raven Green spot in some of those nickels. And that was interesting. And then they would have Scott play deep. So we have a play on X's and O's that's worth watching with Vernon Scott. And it sort of involves Chris Barnes too. And, sometimes you just got to take a chance. If you're going to go the whole way, think you're going to go the whole way, you can play it safe, or you can say, hey, let's get the better athletes out there.
Absolutely. I think now's the time to do it. I mean, you're going to play another bad team in Carolina, but they're very feisty. So, I mean, now's the time to get these guys experience. Every time you walk on the field and you're out there with the number one unit, and it is the number one unit, if you're out there and you just continue to make strides, I think it shows the depth of your team and it shows the trust of your coaches.
Yeah, no question.
Yeah.
And these last three matchups are not total cupcakes. I mean, Carolina, if they get Christian McCaffrey back this week, we still don't know whether he's going to play for sure. It would be his first game back, so I don't know if he'd be able to play. But they're a different team with him.
Oh my goodness! Oh,
Tennessee, showed last week that they're back. Derrick Henry running with Rodgers and Mahomes for the MVP, and then. The Bears played a strong game against Houston. So it's probably not a bad thing that they're not just waltzing into these last three games. They could probably use the competition, don't you think?
Well, yeah. Tennessee's a head scratcher. We'll talk about them next week. But one week they look good, and the other week they give up 40 points on defense. And then one week they stick with the run exclusively, and one week they're trying to be too gimmicky.
Yeah,
and that's the whole thing with Carolina. I mean, with Bridgewater, they're able to control the complexion of the game at times. I mean, Robbie Anderson was a guy I really wanted the Packers to investigate, bringing him in. He's a true deep threat, but they got, I don't know if DJ Moore is going to play. Samuels are going to play. They have a lot of athletes that you can get the ball out to, but it's all around Christian McCaffrey. If he plays, it's a different ball game. They're not a 4-9 team when he's out there because he's a volume guy. Runs it a lot. They throw him the ball a lot. That's why this would have been a great game if he played, if Raven Green was there to match up with McCaffrey out of the backfield. So I'm not sure if they'll use Amos for that. But again,
that's a tough one. Boy, you got to figure out.
You got to double him up. We used to do that with Amp Lee. You remember Amp Lee?
Yeah.
At Minnesota, me and Brian Williams would double him inside out, and it just took away what they wanted to do, and it forced them to do something else.
Yeah. That's not easy to do with the running back.
It's not.
Because you can't get your hands on him because he's sitting way back in the backfield.
Yeah.
So lastly, I wanted to address Marquez Valdez-Scantling. It's such an interesting story this year, the ups and downs that he's gone through, the emotional roller coaster. He had such an impressive game, and we'll show one of his catches in X's and O's. But, how do you ride that roller coaster, mentally and emotionally and stay with it? I mean, it seems like they have found a way to keep him grounded.
Yeah, I think the most brilliant thing about the Packers, they give you a chance to succeed or fail, and it's up to you. If MVS, he had 6 targets, 6 catches, 86 yards and a touchdown. If he does that, they're unstoppable. Because remember, you're going to double 17. That's a fact. He's going to get most of the doubles. So MVS is going to have true one-on-one with the second best corner. And he can outrun everybody. He can stretch the field. He's a great blocker. He does everything. But it's just 50-50 whether or not he catches the ball. And that's the issue. And I like the way the Packers don't give up on their players. So that's one guy I'm pulling for because I'm telling you, he's going to win a game for the Packers one day because he can outrun coverages. He's the only thing different between him and Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill can run every route on the route tree, straight 9s, 7s, deuce. He can run like a little pinball machine.
Yeah.
But for straight line speed, I mean, he got to be one of the top 5 fastest guys. So, and you got to utilize that. Whenever you see that go over to 17, he's going to get that throwback side.
Right. And, they even got, you talked about 6 for 6 targets. He also drew a pass interference call.
Exactly.
On a deep ball. The guy had to grab him. He had no choice. The other thing regarding him, and we had talked about this last week, I don't know if we should take credit or not, but he used his hands on every single catch.
Yes, right. That's right.
He used them to his advantage.
Yes.
Stuck him out there. I don't know if the coaches got on him about it. I would guess they probably did. Yeah. But great use of his hands in that game.
Absolutely. So you got to be a combination of Robert Brooks and Antonio Freeman. You got to catch it with your hands. And then when you're all crowded, people all amongst you, you can body it sometimes. The back shoulder throw. Sometimes the back shoulder throw. So you just got to use your judgment. But if you just have the confidence that your hands can get you through, you'll be fine.
Yeah, and you have hands and long arms like he does. You got to make use of that. And he certainly did. So, okay, so we'll see how this goes. We've got a prediction. I should say you have a prediction.
Yeah, I try to always go with the 30-19 method. And that's what is that? 30-19 method is the Packers got to score at least 30 points, and they got to at least hold the opponent to around 19, hover around 19.
Okay.
And I think they'll win 33-17.
Okay.
If they do that, if that score holds up for the next 3 weeks, the Packers are in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think the top defense is Pittsburgh, and they're like 18.2 or something. So the defense got to get stronger. Offense, just do what you do. But just make sure Aaron Jones, man, if Aaron Jones is putting up 110 yards and 50 receiving, 2 touchdowns, I don't think any team in the league can beat them. And then Aaron Rodgers will win his 3rd MVP. The Packers will go on to the Super Bowl.
Okay. All right.
I know you don't like hearing that. Y'all meet you.
Well, it just means 3 extra weeks. I got to be working 4 extra weeks. But so that's neither here nor there. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about me.
Let me thank my sponsors and quit complaining.
Yes, please do.
I want to thank the Jewelry Center, of course. I love the jewelry shop, tjc.com. You can go there and get all of your jewelry needs, especially for the holiday season. And the Game Day Brats, thegamedaybrats.com. We have a new flavor. So next week we'll update the picture. We have a new classic. And if you go to gamedaybrats.com or call 414-531-LEAP, you can find out which restaurant in your area you can pick up the one. They'll even make them for you, or you can pick them up yourself and go home and cook them. And, of course, Pick and Save, Ivanhoe's Pub and Eatery, they've been amazing. They still got taken curbside if you want to go and do that. And, of course, if you want to have a bully book for your kids, one of the best bully books, and it's only like $10 too. And, of course, last is Frankie Wreath Co.com that David bought out his wife. We got ours. Our wreath is amazing. So if you want it by Christmas, hurry up and order it today, and it would be awesome.
Perfect. All right. Well, I hope everyone has a good week, and don't forget to check in with X's and O's. I really like these 2 plays. I know I say that every week, but I really
some of them are very good. So you're right. You're right.
These 2 are really fun. So we'll be sure you tune in. Otherwise, we will see you next week.
Bye.